All right. Welcome, everybody, back to the Black and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Gillum, and Happy New Year again, y'all. I don't know when I'm going to stop saying it. Probably until the end of January. But I'm going to keep saying it because we are in a new year. We are blessed, honey. Yes. This is a time to make changes for yourself. I mean, you should make changes all the time. It don't have to be just starting a new year. But you know how that goes. So welcome back. I am excited about today's topic, y'all. We are diving in. But before we dive in, y'all, make sure, if you haven't already, and shout out to the people that have, subscribe to the Black and Healthy podcast. You can subscribe on our 2 different platforms for the podcast and also on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you also go to the Black and Healthy website at www.blackandhealthy.com. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Black and Healthy. And of course, you know I'm about to say it, if you would like to sponsor the Black and Healthy podcast, make sure that you email me at BLK, N as in Nancy, healthy@gmail.com. So that's blackandhealthy@gmail.com. So as I said, let's dive into it. And let me introduce who we have here today. We have Brittany. And Brittany, please let the people know who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Brittany Clarke. I am first and foremost a child of God. I am from Bowling Springs, South Carolina, and I am a licensed life insurance agent, a hospitality consultant, a mother, and child of God.
Okay. Yes. So, y'all, I love me some Brittany.
I love you too.
Okay, sis. Because let me tell you something. I got some energy, right? Let's talk about it. I got some energy, but there are like a handful of people whose energy is like a little bit up here above mine, right? Notice I said a little bit up here, because we kind of
right.
You know, right there at it. Yeah, we right there at it. But if it's somebody that I'm going to talk about, it's this girl right here. Every time I see her, I'm like, man, she got some energy, and I love it because you don't meet people like that every day,
right?
Like you really don't, and I appreciate that about you.
Glory to God.
Because, I mean, you can be in such a, like, mundane world, right? And, you know, people can be like, woe is me, and all these things. But the people, I believe, because, I mean, I can speak to this, is the energy and the joy that we do have, right? Is, like, some people don't know what it took for us to have this.
Right.
And realize that, like, people such as ourselves have gone through certain things in our lives that bring this joy out of us, like, even more. I think we're naturally already joyful people, right? But it's another thing, like, when you go through certain parts of your life and then you, like, kind of have this, like, revitalization and kind of like a, like, upgrade, if you will, or a reset of joy and energy that you get. So Brittany's one of those people.
Glory to God. Thank you, sis.
Yes, girl.
It comes all from Him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I get my joy from the Lord. So even at the times where I want to complain or feel it could even be necessary to complain, I know that I'm on assignment. And so my suffering is already overcome from what He's done for me on the cross. So
correct.
Yeah, I can be joyful in my suffering because I know that this too shall pass.
Right.
Yeah.
And what they say, the world didn't give it, nor the world could take it away.
Amen.
Hey, you heard it here.
Right.
Sometimes on this podcast we do take it to church. So, yes, so I hope that you felt that in your spirit.
Yes.
But without further ado, though, speaking of joy, speaking of life, as you mentioned, that you are licensed as an insurance agent or representative. And I think that's very important to talk about.
I love it.
Meaning because, in the month of January, so the most recent episode, we talk about financial literacy. And how having financial freedom, but then also having literacy and understanding your finances is very freeing for people, and especially for our people in particular, because, we've had certain setbacks, of course, and, it's important for us to be able to utilize these skills to help us, to help our family, friends, loved ones, if you will. However, we all know that one day is going to come.
Yep.
And by taking care of the people that you love and looking out for the people that you love, it's also important to some, I would say, because not out to all, that having a life insurance policy is important. Now, I'm not going to say like I'm the youngest chick in a bunch. But I can say that at my millennial age,
Amen.
that there's still things for me to learn, right, about having a life insurance policy. I would say, so my parents, I was introduced to a life insurance policy when I was like younger. Like I remember like my parents, like they had an agent or two or whatever, and they would come to our house or whatever, and I just remember them telling us that like they had a policy on their children, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool,
right?
What I'm saying? But now that they are older, it is now that like I'm learning like, oh, so me and my siblings, we could get one on y'all too. And so, but I want to start from the beginning for people who have never considered a life insurance policy, who don't even know what it is. Really, they've heard of it, but they're not familiar with it. And really like break that down for people to understand how this could help your family, like how this could truly help to become like a legacy. So let's start first with like, how did you even get into being a life insurance representative?
Awesome. I got into life insurance, Jazz, from I work at Copper River part-time. I still work there part-time. I've been there 6 years. And there was a gentleman that God gave me the opportunity to serve one day. And during his visit at Copper River, he didn't say too much to me the whole visit. He was on his phone the whole time. But I serve for the Lord and not for man. So I serve people the same exact way, whether you talk to me or you don't talk to me.
Right.
And so at the end, he had acknowledged that, he apologized for not talking to me while I was serving him and being on the phone the entire time. And he asked me if I was looking for a career change. And I said, well, you know what? I am. I've been here. At that time, I've been at Copper River 3.5, 4 years. So, yeah, I was a single mom, definitely looking for a career change, stable income. And he told me, he said, I work in finances. Could I introduce you to my director and to see how we can get you plugged in with us? And I was like, of course. So I had a meeting with the director of Globe Life. That's my first insurance company that I was with. And God gave them a sense of security over me. Like, this is where I belong, that I needed to be there. So these people offered to not only help me get my license, but pay for me to get my license, pay for me to go to school just so I could get my life insurance license, and also teach me life insurance, because I knew nothing about life insurance at the time. Matter of fact, Jazz, I asked God, I said, Lord, out of all things, you want me to go talk to people about dying? I'm like, this can't be the assignment you got for me.
Yeah.
And the Lord spoke to me and he said, Brittany, you're not going to go talk to them about just death. You're going to go tell them where they can go after This is just something they need to take care of here on earth, so their loved ones aren't getting left behind. And it was like an aha moment, and I was like, okay, now I can talk to them about heaven. Yeah. But it was just, death is such a grieving and sad topic, you know. And so for me, being a joyful person, I just couldn't see myself just going in with so much joy and talking to people about death and actually succeeding in it. But man, God is so good. I have been able to not only protect so many families, but meet so many people. And Jazz, I'm going to tell you the one thing that I've realized is that I have been placed here to help not only families that don't have life insurance, but our community of people that don't know anything about life insurance.
Right.
Me being a daughter who, my mom passed away 5 years ago, and she passed away from cancer. And I didn't have a life insurance policy for her. And so that was very hard. And, you know, grieving is hard enough, and then when you're grieving financially on top of the grief of your loved one, it gets even harder. I went through a depressed state, everything, you know, and it was just hard. So I told the Lord, I said, because he had reminded me of what I went through with my mom. And he said, Brittany, don't you want to get people out of this situation? And I'm like, yeah, okay. It started to make sense as I was studying for my license. Girl, I tell you, this is one of the hardest state exams to pass. And God gave me the knowledge, and I passed it the first time that I took my test.
Okay.
So I knew that it was for me.
Right.
Went into Globe Life, and I started doing worksite management. And basically, worksite management is you go to different companies and get all of the employees' life insurance and benefits. Well, that was really tough being a black woman in business, you know, going around to a lot of corporate businesses and asking them to choose me as their life insurance agent for their entire company. Now, I was able to get 8 companies out of the time I was with Globe Life, but it was very, very challenging. Yeah. And so I ended up meeting, I studied, I asked God, I said, Lord, can you give me a director that believes in you? If I got a director, because my director with Globe Life wasn't a believer. And so a relationship was, you know, a little strenuous at times. But I asked God for a believer. God gave me a pastor. You don't get no better than that. So I found Sharon Gentry with the Gamechangers and reached out to them, and I told them, hey, I got my license. I've been working with Globe Life, but I really want to get into our black community, because when I was with Globe Life, and shout out Globe Life, nothing against Globe Life at all. It's a great company. Yeah. But when I went to go look for black businesses to support, black businesses that don't have employee benefits, I was told that I need to stick to our regular system. And so I was like, Lord, how can I go out there and help our community if I ain't being able to help our community? So with the Gentrys, they gave me that opportunity to be out here in the community and helping our people. Now, everybody need life insurance. It's not a color thing at all. Right. But the people that don't know about it and are less educated on it are our people. Right. And it's time for us to continue to elevate, you know. And so if God can use me to continue to educate people and provide benefits and policies so we are not left with financial burdens, then I'm all for it. That's good. That's how it started.
Right. God said, I'm gonna do you one better.
Right. I'm gonna give you a pastor.
Right. I'm gonna give you
I got 2 pastors, not just one. Right. 2 directors that are pastors.
Listen.
Yeah.
So
shout out Sharon Gentry and Pastor Curtis Johnson with the Gamechangers. Thank y'all. I love y'all.
Look, he said, I'm gonna give you a man that teaches the people about God, and I'm gonna give you a man that also carries you on after they passed on. Okay.
Pastor Gentry calls it insurance and assurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that you mentioned, like our people, specifically black people. And you know, us not being as educated on life insurance. So what is, I guess, like, what's the main question or barrier that you have come across when you are educating black people, like, on about life insurance? Like, what's the number one question or concern that they have about it, or why they never got life insurance in the first place?
Number one concern that I've seen is people thinking because they have a policy at work that they're covered. Not knowing that work policies, only 3% of them are used, because if you're not going to work there for the rest of your life, so when you leave this job or you retire or you're terminated, you lose your policy. You don't have that policy anymore. You only have that policy if you're working for that company. So if you was to die while working for them, then they would pay out that policy. But if you put all that hard work in and you retired from this company, that policy doesn't carry with you. You got to start back over. And the thing with our community is at the age between 60 and 70, when our people, are getting to retire or not work anymore, they're living on a fixed income. So the older that you are, the higher your premium's going to be.
Yeah.
So a 30-year-old premium, you're looking at $30 a month. A 70-year-old premium, you're looking at about $80 to $90 a month. It's hard for them to pay that when they're already on a fixed income.
Right.
And so a lot of them just die with no life insurance policy because they couldn't afford it.
Right.
But if our people was to understand that the best time to get your policies is between the ages of 30 and 50, because you can get a really good rate, lock it in for the rest of your life, even have this policy paid off in 20 years, and then not have to worry about it when you 70, 80 years old. Oh, when I die, what's going to happen? And then another thing that happens at an older age, you got a lot of health issues. And so it's harder to qualify for these policies because of your health issues. So a lot are dying without insurance. Wanted to get insurance, knew at the age of 50 or 60, I've learned about insurance, so I know I need to get this policy now. Well, my health is so bad, I done got denied, so I can't get it, and I can't protect my family. So just knowing that, doing your research on it, or even just reaching out to an agent, any agent, y'all, that does life insurance, and say, hey, I got a question. No question is stupid, because it's a lot that I didn't even know when I got into insurance that I know now. So no question is stupid. Just know that the best time to get life insurance or to start looking for life insurance is now, because you got an appointed time and you don't know when that time is. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be 20 years from now. But be in a situation to where you invest in yourself and in your family, because when you die, the last thing you want to leave is your family a bill. You know what I mean? It's time needs to change, where we leaving our family wills and saying, hey, I worked this hard so you could have this when I left. Now, I worked this hard all my life and I ain't got nothing to give you when I'm gone.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I remember there was a story that I had seen. There was a young lady and her father was passing. I don't know this girl, by the way. It was an internet story that I'd seen. So I think the girl, she was a beautician. And I think that she was trying to get like her own shop or whatever. So she's not only dealing with like her father passing, she's also, like trying to grow her business at the same time. And so her dad, while she's anxious and stuff about the deal going through for her to get her shop, or finding the money to get the shop that she had her eyes set on, her father's like, don't worry, it's gonna be okay, I got you. So what happened was her father passed, and the exact amount of money that she needed for that shop was a part of what her dad had for her.
Hallelujah.
Based off of his life insurance policy. And so, like, that made me emotional, because it's just like, it's stuff like that where us as a community, we don't realize how much that can set up our family down the line.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, sometimes our family members, or I would say our ancestors as well, they may not be able to be present to be there to support their relative as they are growing in success, whether it's them growing a business or just, life. But in this situation, in a business aspect where you are trying to do something different in your family so that your family can be financially free.
Exactly.
Is the beautiful part is, her father is able to leave her that gift for her. And not
intentionally.
Intentionally.
Yes.
He knew. He knew. He started before.
Right.
He didn't know he was going to be sick or whatever, but he knew that he wanted to set up success for his child financially.
Right.
And so I just think that's a beautiful story, and that made me look at life and policies differently. It made me understand it a little bit more.
Because it's not for you. It's for the people you're going to leave behind.
Right.
And do you love them enough to leave them high and dry, or you want them to be set up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just think, that's just one of the beautiful ways, especially for Black people, for us to set our family up.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not always about the money, right?
Right.
But if you can do it for somebody, why not?
Right.
The point is, you may not get along with this person, you may not get along with this person in your family, but think about the whole family itself.
Exactly.
Right? Think about who could come afterwards and really break generational curses and break cycles and make a change in your family line.
Right.
So yeah, I wanted to share that.
I love it. And since it's not just about the money, it's about having a funeral plan.
Right.
Funerals are costing $10,000 to $15,000.
Yes.
And funeral homes want their money before they bury you, before they do all their stuff. A lot of people don't have $15,000 just sitting around to bury people, their loved ones. So a lot of them have to get cremated because they don't have the burial money. But at least and I tell people this all the time, if you don't have a life insurance policy, at least get you a funeral plan to where you have enough money to bury yourself. Right. When that time comes, at least your family don't have to worry about how they gonna bury you. If anything, bills and all that, a lot of people can figure out how to pay them, but as far as a funeral, you got to pay for that right then and there. And we need that money right then and there. And the good thing about my company that I love is we pay out in 24 hours of your death. So when you die without even getting the death certificate, we're paying out so you can get your funeral paid for.
Now we know, y'all, this is a touchy subject, but we got to talk about it.
Right.
And also with just so much that's going on right now, we had the pandemic and, there's so much stuff that's going on right now in this season. You have to talk about this stuff.
Do. And it's affordable thing. You know what I mean? It's a very affordable thing. And I'm the type of agent, I like to work with you and your budget. I always tell my clients and my families, start where you're comfortable at. Pick you a monthly payment to where you're going to be able to afford that a month. And if you want to add on more insurance next year, we can do that. But let's start low where we're comfortable at, because it does draft out of your bank account every month. But you can draw cash value from this policy. If you say kids get old and you time to go to college and you need to get you some books and stuff for the kids, you can draft out your whole life insurance policy, borrow money out of it that you don't even have to pay back.
I think, man, there's a whole thing that all this goes into, as far as setting your family up for success, essentially. So let's fast forward. What do you enjoy most about what you do?
Meeting the people. Again, I love meeting new people. God gives me so much insight on new relationships. I love the fact that not only am I meeting people, but I'm providing services for their family that's going to last them a lifetime. Now, none of my clients have passed, thank the Lord, but I do know that when they do pass, that I'm going to get a phone call that says, Brittany, thank you for helping us with this, because I spoke to agents that have seen people and they didn't get a policy, and weeks or months later they die and their family thinking that they got a policy and they didn't have one. So just being able to meet people, sis, and educate them on things that they had no idea was even important. A lot of people don't realize how important life insurance it is until you're gone.
So, okay, let's touch on that, because you said some people think that they have a policy. Where do you encourage let's say children of, of a parent, to ask their parent, like, hey, do you have a policy? Where do you encourage, or anybody that you may know, like, where do you encourage them to begin to start that conversation to see if there actually is one in place?
Right. Like you just said, Jazz, I would just, as that child or family member, I would just ask my family member, do you have a life insurance policy? If they say yes, that they have a policy, ask if you can see it, or ask when's the last time they've gotten that policy reviewed. Because a lot of us in our community, we have gotten term policies because they're so low rate. But the thing with the terms is 10, 20, 30 years, if you outlive that term, then you don't get the benefit of that policy. So you've been paying on a policy all your life, but if you outlive it, you don't get it. Now, the company that I work for, we have return of premiums where they'll give you 75% back of what you put in. But you just need to continue to review your policy, making sure if you got an old policy that you got 10 years ago, have somebody review that policy. If you want to just ask your family member in a nice way, if they got a policy, listen, I just want to make sure everybody's straight. Do you got a life insurance policy? If not, let's get you started, or let's at least get you a quote so you'll know, where it is. But don't ever be afraid to ask your family member for that, because at the end of the day, the life insurance policy was made for you, in that sense, as you and a family member needing to know that information. And I do meet a lot of families that'll say things like, oh, they straight, I'm going to be gone. I ain't got to worry about that. But at the end of the day, it is something that you have to worry about. It's because how you going to leave your legacy? Right. You know what I mean? Are you going to leave your legacy being a burden to your family? Yeah. Or are you going to leave your legacy having your family straight? Or at least taking the steps necessary to have your family straight. And the good thing about my company is that there's no medical exam, so pretty much everybody can get covered. But as a life insurance agent, I constantly reach out to people, and they don't see the importance of having a life insurance policy. So yeah, family members, ask your family. This is a healthy question for 2024. Are you covered? Do you have life insurance? If not, I'm going to connect you with Brittany or the Gamechangers or a life insurance agent to get you educated. That should definitely be a much asked question here in 2024 and the rest on.
Yeah. So I got two things.
Okay.
One is, okay, so say that, like, for example, like me and my siblings, right? Like, our parents are older age. I ain't gonna put y'all age out that, mama. I got you.
My people mad too.
Maybe I did in a recent one. I don't remember. Either way, my mama, she be listening, so.
Hey, Mom.
Right. Hey, Mom. So, yeah, say that my siblings want to get a policy on our parents, right? Where do you encourage siblings to start if they do have an older parent, or older relative, and that relative, like, is okay with them getting a policy, obviously, but, like, as you're saying, you should get a policy in between a certain age range. But what about the people that are older and they're like, oh man, like,
I missed it.
So is that an alternative to help your family out? Is if there are people that are younger who are willing to get a policy out on that other older person if they are eligible, or how does that work?
Yep, you're eligible to the age of 85 to get you a policy. Now, anybody can put a policy on you. So say you want to put a policy on your parents. You can do that without their consent because you would be the owner of that policy. All you would need to know is their information as far as name, address, date of birth, things like that. But because there's no medical exam, we could get you covered for your family. And anybody can put a policy on anyone. With Lincoln Heritage, it only allows you to put as much as $10,000 on a person, and you can own that policy. If they don't want life insurance, but you know that you're going to need it for when they die, you can put a policy on them. I had a couple of clients put policies on their family members.
How old do you have to be to start a policy?
18.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 18-year-olds. You heard that.
Right. And you can get it at a really, really low rate. And also, what I've been learning about life insurance policies, you have whole policies and you have term policies. Those term policies, you can get up to $200,000, $500,000, even up to $1 million on those policies. And at that age, you would get it at a really low rate. And because they do a return of premium, it'll basically be like a savings account for you. So once that term runs out and you got a $200,000 policy, 75% of that policy is going to go back into your bank account. So you'll have saved money this whole time by just paying for you a life insurance policy. Because at 18, you probably going to outlive a 30-year term.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to get all that money, 75% of that money back. And that's what they call investments. That's why they say life insurance policies can be investments. Because some policies have return of premium.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful on what you get. And if you get a term policy, make sure you get return of premium. They do have term policies that have no return of premium. So that means all the money you put in, you're not going to get anything back. But return of premium gives you a percentage back. And that could be your savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And if I ain't answering them directly how you want, just let me know.
Oh, no. See,
it's so much information with life insurance.
Yeah, like I'm like everybody else. I'm like, I'm gonna write this down right quick.
It's so much, sis.
But I have seen before. So there's an entrepreneur that I admire, and that inspires me. Pinky Cole, who is the CEO of Slutty Vegan.
Okay.
Some people are familiar with her. If not, look her up. She is dynamic. But she had an event, I think maybe it was last year or the year before, where pretty much she was encouraging men to come to get a life insurance policy. So can you touch on the difference between men and women getting a life insurance policy? Because I know that there is a difference on that.
Difference between men and women policies are your rates. Men are more expensive because they're considered to die faster than women. So your policies, a 55-year-old male and a 55-year-old woman are probably going to be a $15 to $20 difference in your policy rate. But both are going to get covered. It's just going to be the price, the rate of the price with. So it's encouraging to tell men, let's do it this now and lock in your rate, because at 65, you're going to be paying, just to get $10,000 worth of coverage, you're going to be paying $70 to $80. And these are just quotes that I'm throwing out. I'm not giving out direct quotes. I have to put in your age and your health, ask health questions in order to give you a direct quote. But for 60 to 70 years old, you're looking at about $70 to $100 a month. Now, with 30s to 50 years old, you're looking at anywhere from $20 to $50 a month.
Hey, y'all heard that? You 30-year-olds out there, the ones that's just peeking into your 30s, to the 30 club. Hey, look into that while you can right now.
And I also encourage parents that are getting life insurance policies. Kids can ride on your policy until the age of 26. So I always tell parents, let them get their own policy at 27. You can start it for them and hand it over to them. And that gives them a sense of responsibility as well. Okay, I got this life insurance policy that I got to pay every month. First of all, they ain't going to be out here acting as crazy. But for two, you're going to give them a sense of accountability for their own life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be able to have them a life insurance policy that's going to be paid off at the age of 50.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
All right. So for people who are beginning to get a policy, when they say they come to you, hey Brittany, I saw you on the Black and Healthy podcast YouTube channel, blah 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 blah.
Right.
What do they need to bring with them when showing an interest in getting a policy, like their ID, birth certificate? What all does that entail?
The beautiful thing about that, Jazz, I don't need any of that.
Oh.
All I need you to know is your birthday, your address, and your social, and we can get you covered as of today.
Yeah. So the address, let's make that clear, because we know how this goes. Your home at where you reside, where you live, where you lay your head at night.
Or just where you got the mail sent to, so I can send the policy to you.
So one or the other.
Yep, one or the other.
Oh, so one or the other. See, that's good, because you know, and some people are like, not your mailing address, but like where you actually live. So
where
that's
you would
good.
want your policy to go to.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, I think this is a great start for everybody. It definitely was helpful for me. And of course, y'all, like, you know, invest into your life. Invest into setting your family up. Or your friends up, you know, whoever you love. Right. Show them some love.
Right. And do unto others as you want done unto you. Right. So if you don't want nobody to leave you with no funeral bill, right, don't do it for the next family member. Right. You know, and it's just that simple. Right. For real.
I love to live by stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Amen. Okay. Yes.
So y'all, if you would like to connect with Brittany, please share with them on how they can connect with you.
Yes, my phone number is 864-909-5688. That's 864-909-5688. We can meet in person, or I can quote you over the phone. Also, you can contact me on my Facebook social media. That's at Brittany Clarke, TTANY, and Clarke with an E.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brittany.
Yes, thank you.
For being a part of the Black and Healthy podcast. If, like I say on every episode, if you get overwhelmed, take a break, take a pause, process your notes, and come back when you need to. Right. But the production, the podcast, the video will always be here for you as a resource. And I hope this was very helpful for you today. It certainly was for me, Brittany.
Glory to God.
Thank you all again for tuning in. And hey, make sure you subscribe to the Black and Healthy podcast. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, if you would like to sponsor the Black and Healthy podcast, make sure you email me at blackandhealthy@gmail.com and subscribe to our newsletter on the Black and Healthy website, which will be www.blackandhealthy.com. And again, you guys, thank you, and I will see you again later.
Thank you.
Bye.